It just rained around here, but there are no raindrops falling from the clouds now, only from the cables here, so I'm safe without an umbrella. In this video, I want to point out something that many just don't notice, and that's as follows. Evidence is not proof. Alright, let me stand in this alley over here. Okay, that's better. Evidence is not proof. Let me explain the difference between proof and evidence. Evidence is when you have material or a circumstance that points to something. Proof is when something is 100% confirmed without any reasonable nor possible doubt that something is true. Let's say there's a homicide. They find a body. Well, the body is evidence that the homicide happened. And it's also proof because why? Because someone is laying there and there's blood all over the place. Now, when you find the body, find the corpse, that's evidence. When you go to the medical examiner and examine the corpse, then they can see, oh, there's a gunshot wound here. Now it's proven that the individual was a victim of homicide. If you just find that corpse somewhere without blood all over the place, you can say someone may have a heart attack, or it may be due to some sickness, whatever, then you can only say there's evidence someone died. And it's proof, both evidence and proof, because indeed someone is dead. But to be sure that it's homicide, you do an examination, and the examination will point out whether the individual indeed was murdered or not. So evidence is a circumstance or an object or even individual that points to something, and proof when something has been 100% confirmed without a doubt. So you can have evidence, but just because you have evidence doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that whatever you're stating is true. Okay, so let's say now you have a homicide case. It is proven that someone died due to 50 stab wounds. Okay, so the fact that those are 50 chaotic stab wounds shows you that it was rage. The individual, the murdered individual, was filled with rage. Okay, it has been proven. Okay, by the body. But now, who did it? Let's say they find a suspect, and they use evidence. The suspect was a lost individual who saw the victim alive. Okay, that's evidence. The suspect had a fight with the victim just within 24 hours before the victim died. Another piece of evidence. The suspect had ill will towards the victim. Evidence. So now you have all those evidences being gathered against the suspect. But does all of that prove? Does all that confirm that he is the killer? No. Because later, the detectives find out that there is this ex-girlfriend who was murmuring, complaining about him, who even lied on the victim that the victim raped her, which wasn't true. And the current husband of the ex-girlfriend came along and he taught the victim a lesson, even though the victim was innocent. So now that they've examined everything, it is proven that the suspect was innocent of that crime. The suspect was not innocent of ill will and all those other stuff, but he was innocent of the murder. So just because you have evidence doesn't mean that something is proven. And why am I teaching this? It is because when it comes to deception, the world often comes with evidence to convince you of what they're selling you. And because worldlings in general never look at the bigger picture, they don't put things in context, you can only come with some evidence and already follow you. And by the way, evidence doesn't have to be convincing. Evidence is just evidence. It points towards something. If someone would tell you that, let me say that the rice cake is disgusting, and they would come with some reviews online, that's just evidence. Okay? But then you also have people saying rice cake is delicious, and they point out the reviews of people that praise it. And they will even show you, statistics that the rice cake is being sold more and more in society. Okay, so the ones saying that rice cake is disgusting, they have some evidence, reviews online, and the ones saying that rice cake is delicious also have evidence, even statistical data from the government. Does that mean now that either points can be proven? No, because this is nothing to be proven. This is just a personal evaluation. This is just a subjective judgment about rice cake. Rice is just rice cake. How you relate to rice cake, whether you do it in an attractive way, you enjoy it, or you do it in an aversive way, you can't stand it, that's a subjective experience. And a subjective experience, just that, just a subjective experience, it cannot be proven. But what if someone comes with what if someone comes to you with a subjective statement that you should realize is subjective? And now they come with evidence for that subjective statement. If you don't realize that the statement itself is just a subjective judgment, then you already fall in the trap of trying to either prove or disprove the whole debate. And that's one trick that's often used on the masses. They come with a weird statement. Let me give a very disturbing statement. Let's say someone says all Mexicans are rapists, for example. Let's say someone says something ridiculous like that. If you use the word all, people already would say, oh, this is ridiculous. But if you say in general Mexicans are rapists, people are going to think, what? He didn't say all, he just said in general they're rapists. That's a subjective statement that's also quite ridiculous. It's a negative projection on a population. Let's say now you have a group of people that come with data of Mexican rapists that raped people of the native population. Okay? That can be evidence for that subjective statement that Mexicans are rapists. And then you have people coming out with data saying, but hold on a minute, the Mexicans in this country are only a minority, so you cannot say that all of them are rapists, whatever. So they come with real data to disprove that statement, Mexicans are rapists, okay? But here's the thing. The whole statement, Mexicans are rapists, it's not even based in reality. It's just a negative projection onto a group of people. And that's all it is. But if you perceive that negative projection as a statement, then you fall in the trap of proving or disproving it. So first of all, before you begin to gather evidence, before you begin to look at the proof, check what it is that's at stake. Is it a real statement that affects life and death or affects social life directly? Or is it just a negative projection from people that just want to dump? Okay? Why am I saying this? Is because there are also many believers that fall in this trap. There are even believers who support Trump or believers that are against Trump, and they all, from both sides, they come with evidence. Hold on a minute, why are you so obsessed with Trump to begin with? Why is your focus on Christ Jesus? Why is your focus on a man who has a very bad track record? Why you sponsor him? Oh, because he tells you things you want to hear? Oh, so it's all about narcissistic gratification, so it's not about serving Christ then. You get what I'm saying here? So, beware of evidence-based delusions. Because a delusion doesn't mean that something is nonsensical. If someone would tell you all Mexicans are rapists, automatically you would think, come on man, cut it out. Okay? You would automatically think this is crazy. But if someone comes with a statement that's a bit more nuanced, and there's an agenda attached to it, now they want you involved in their agenda. So if they can get you involved in their agenda with evidence, you're trapped. So a delusion is simply that people want to flee. They just want to flee from stuff. And the best way to flee from stuff is by blaming someone else or by putting someone else or something else in a negative daylight. That's the easiest way to flee. It's the easiest way to get all attention off of you, so nobody's going to challenge or question you. So that's what a delusion is. People just want to flee. And delusional people are dangerous people. I've explained that before. So beware of evidence-based delusions. Because a delusion that's not evidence-based, so a delusion that's nothing factual in it, it's not going to work. A delusion, for it to be effective and strong, it needs to have some evidence. So don't just look at evidence, look at the proof. And to look at the proof, you need to look at the bigger picture. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.